Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. She shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord God, who judgeth her. And her smoke rose up forever and ever. How long is forever and ever? Is that endless? Well, obviously the city's burned, and the smoke goes up forever and ever, right? Babylon shall be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. So if you look for Babylon, you won't be able to find it? Huh? Doesn't that make sense that the forever and ever is limited? Babylon is no more. You look in outer space and you won't see the smoke pouring up forever and ever because it's no more to be found. The Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. That is Edom. And the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched, night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass by it forever and ever. Question, is Idumea burning today? Is smoke coming out of where it is at or was today? So then wouldn't the forever and ever be limited? How could that burn forever and ever then? So is Edom burning today? Well, obviously the answer to that is no. It is not. And have people not passed through where it was at one time? Well, there may have been a time nobody passed through it, obviously. But people have, because at one time they didn't believe the place existed. And people passed through it and found artifacts by digging up the earth. And here we go, we found stuff. You can read about that on Wikipedia. Now, forever and ever, it's good to know what those words mean in the Greek. The phrase forever and ever is translated from Isis Aeon Aeon, which is what ISIS is translated into in the English, but ISIS means something like for or by. Basically, it's a primary preposition. It means like to or into, a place of time or purpose. And aeon can mean a limited time, an age. So, it is possible to understand that forever and ever doesn't really mean endless. It just means into a limited amount of time. Now consider the words forever and ever. The first ever being the A, and the second ever being the B. Notice the red segment. That would be the into or ISIS, which would be basically a limited time. Do you see what it's basically how it's implying this? Well then, forever and ever can mean this, obviously. Specifically when you talk about Idumea and the smoke going up forever and ever, and Babylon the Great, the smoke going up forever and ever. It wasn't ascending forever and ever because the city was burning endlessly. That wouldn't make any sense. Supposedly, you would want to say this. Perhaps you would say that the smoke ascends up forever and ever. Look at this bubble in this picture. Supposedly, I blew that bubble, and you are John the Revelator in Bible times. Wouldn't it look like it's ascending up forever and ever and ever and ever and never, never, never stopping? But does that mean I keep sitting there blowing bubbles repeatedly over and over again? It's just like saying, look, those two cities can be burned up, but the smoke of it could keep going out there in the outer space for endless ages of eternity. However you want to view it. Anyhow, it doesn't constitute that those two cities will burn forever and ever. Now here comes the whole point of this whole argument as to what I'm actually going to bring up. And that is the nature of hellfire. Is it eternal? Is it forever? Because people quote Revelation 14:10 and 11 and Revelation 20 verse 10 to support this idea. Revelation 14:10 and 11 is one passage that people use to say that people burn endlessly through endless ages of eternity. Now, the passage reads as such: "The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest, day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name." The phrase forever and ever, what makes it any different than the forever and ever we just looked at? Is it possible that it could mean the exact same thing referring to Idumea and Babylon, which have been shown that they're not endless? This just means for as long as it lasts. Now, the rest of the Bible does talk about the cup of God's wrath. And it talks about Jerusalem, which had drunk of God's wrath back in the days of Isaiah. And what was its effect? Well, they weren't good. They were trembling, drunkenness, and it's his indignation and fury that's poured out into a cup. And I've never seen a cup unlimited in size, and God only has so much anger, so how then could that cup constitute eternal suffering for endless ages of eternity? So you understand that there is a cup of God's wrath that is poured out, which all the wicked people of the earth will drink. Not just a few of them, not just those who receive the mark of the beast, but every one of them. And they will all be drunk and moved and mad because God will have them drink it. Now, what does it say that the cup does? What's its end result? What's its full strength? What's the final end? It says, "And they shall be as though they had not been." So the heathen shall be as though they had not been because of the cup of God's wrath? How does that constitute endless suffering through endless ages of eternity? It doesn't. So if that doesn't constitute it, and these passages do not support that idea, what makes you think that it could possibly support that in Revelation 14:10 and 11? What makes it any different? In this it says, look at the results. These places were turned to a desolation, an astonishment, a hissing, and a curse, as it is this day. And talking about Jerusalem, which drunk it in Isaiah's time, he says, you're not going to drink any more of it. But they did drink of it again, because Jerusalem was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar, and it was burned to the ground. That doesn't constitute eternal everlasting suffering in hellfire. Revelation 14:10, 11 talks about the cup of God's wrath given to those who receive the mark of the beast. Do only those who receive the mark of the beast receive everlasting eternal torment? They don't receive it because the cup of the punishment given is destructive, like it is in these Old Testament passages. What makes it any different when it reaches these people who receive the mark of the beast? All wicked people get the drink of it. Did you notice that verse? It's interesting to note that. But now keep an open mind about all this stuff, because there's more. Some people believe that no rest day or night means endless ages of eternity. However, then that, I guess, the devil would be able to accuse the brethren through endless ages of eternity. But in Revelation 12:10, it says he's cast down and he's not able to do it anymore. Idumea, it says day and night, from generation to generation. And nope, it burned up. Now the very last thing to consider is that these people burn in the presence of the holy angels and of the Lamb. Could you consider the moral implications of thinking that my guardian angel or your guardian angel is watching people suffer through endless ages of eternity? Do you honestly want to believe that? Would you watch horror movies and disgusting things like that? Most Christians wouldn't do that. They think, no, what would Jesus do? Well, Jesus is watching horror movies right here. But no, they burn up. I don't imagine Jesus enjoying that. The end.